of us.
I know. There's no excuses there,
There's
really.
no.
It's almost like I knew what I was talking about. And I was running straight into the brick wall that is often a group that has Gen.G in it, because everything is always up in the air until it's not when it comes to Gen.G. But let's see what they can do as we hop into the draft here. They will need to take down LNG. They did so at the first time of asking. They'll have to do it again now if they want to confirm getting out of this group.
And after last game, I want LNG to focus on securing a matchup that Icon is comfortable with. Even though he got, in theory, the counter pick, we saw that his actual performance on the Lissandra did not match up to what was necessary. And that was against Jensen. And I think Jensen had an incredible game.
Oh, yeah.
But BDD, I think, has been by far the standout player on Gen.G of the tournament thus far. Has looked incredible, even in that one loss against Mad Lions. And the Gwen ban coming through for the first. So really, the rising priority in the Gwen now actually coming to a ban.
Yeah, and Twisted Fate is available.
Twisted Fate is available. It's not a champion that BDD per se likes to take, especially not early on in the draft. So I'd be surprised to see them take it. They're going to look for Clid's Lee Sin instead once again here. And even if Icon ends up taking the Twisted Fate, you have a lot of champions you could pick as BDD to end up getting prio. The Azir is one that we always talk about. You could still play Syndra into that very comfortably. So as Gen.G, I don't think you're really worried about Icon pulling out the TF on red side here, and they're going to go down the MF route instead.
We even seen BDD play the Silas, and
Yeah.
he did so very well, I might say. And I do think that that is something that LNG, you're going to have to be a little bit careful about. I would rather see them save that mid lane pickup until Gen.G actually show what they're going for. Knowing Gen.G, there's a pretty big chance that they'll just lock in the Azir on second rotation, or maybe on third or fourth, trying to look for that.
I mean, that's a crazy thing to point out, too, with BDD. By the way, he's played 4 unique champions so far this tournament, and none of them have been the LeBlanc, right? None of them have been the Rise or the Twisted Fate. He hasn't played any of those iconic mid-champions so far this tournament. That's what makes him so scary and so flexible.
Yeah, and because he's got such a wide champion pool, they can just lock in something like Aphelios Thresh right here if they'd like to. Of course, Ruler has been very comfortable, just sitting back, getting all of the farm, and then participating in a couple of team fights before killing a Nexus. Could certainly be an option here. Life has played a lot of Thresh as well, but Irelia was left up, and this...
That's Bertle's champ!
Yeah, this is Bertle's champ. This guy looked so good on his debut Irelia game in the LCK. This guy's played, like, only a handful of games, but his Irelia was just beautiful.
And I'm liking what Gen.G doing here, because they're still keeping what they're going to pick for mid kind of hidden. And yes, you can ban the Silas, I think a Zoe ban, but you never can ban out all of them, right? There's Azir, there's Syndra, there's Zoe, there's Silas. So there is a limit to what you can do, and I actually would love this. I think that what we saw last game is putting Ale on a scaling champion in the form of the Gwen is kind of putting yourself on the back foot if you're LNG. I think that Ale and Tarzan has been the main combo for which this team has looked incredible. It's what allowed them to stomp play-ins. And getting Ale fed, especially after the performance of Icon and Light in the last game, to me, is the way that you do win this. We know that Bertle is punishable. We've seen it before. And this Fiora, at the very least, it's going to be incredible volatile, right? And if you do get ahead in that 1v1 or in the 2v2, it provides you a very clear opportunity. You neutralize Bertle's Irelia, and that might give you a more surefire way to actually keep control of the game as LNG.
Now, this cannon ban is super interesting because a lot of teams
I love it, actually.
Well, a lot of teams will flex the Irelia mid. Gen.G almost never. Like, this screams it's Bertle's pick. This is going to the top lane no matter what. You pick it early, not because you know you can flex it later, but you pick it early, in fact, because you want to make sure that's not banned away and you want to guarantee it. I don't think this will be flexed into mid. I don't think BDD will be playing it, and this means LNG are still considering that possibility. I mean, the cannon as well has been played mid from time to time, but that's also extremely less likely, even so, than BDD playing this Irelia here. So I think LNG may be misunderstanding this draft a little bit.
Potentially. It's still an option, and BDD has been playing a lot more melees as far as what we've been hearing about, as far as scrims, and definitely in solo queue he has been playing a little bit more of it. Was originally an assassin player when he first debuted, but that was many years ago now, and certainly has found more comfort on the casters. And I think you're right, Wolf. I think that he is going to go back to something more of that control mage style. As the Braum was banned away, Leona as well taken off the board, it means that this Rakan is a little bit more free to take, but Thresh is still available.
And what we do see here, LNG saving the R5 counter pick for Icon. And I think that's really important, considering the first time how this matchup went, considering the performance that Icon had last game against Jensen. Try and get him the best possible matchup. I think the problem is with the form that we've seen of BDD thus far. They might go for Syndra, they might go for Azir, they might go for Zoe, but all of those, he's still shown such a level of mastery on that I'd still be worried even with that counter pick available to LNG. And to me, it means even more so, I want to see them put all the eggs in the Ale basket. Try to get this Fiora ahead, create an unanswerable pressure point in the side lane, and go from there. Because this might look like a scaling comp if they do actually lock in the... But it is Gen.G. So Aphelios and Lulu, Azir, not quite as slow as one might think.
No, not for Gen.G. We always joke about this in the LCK. Whenever you see BDD on the Azir, it's the scaling comp where he ends up getting 3 kills in the early game.
Yeah, and they win by 20 minutes. That was their Azir Jinx early game power spike that they managed to get. It doesn't make sense, we know, but it happens far too often. As Syndra going to be considered here for Icon, and that will be locked away.
BDD, he lived and died by this champion in spring season, but also has picked up the Azir a lot more recently. These are 2 of his highest played champions, so he knows the matchup extremely well. And I think this does give you a lot of playmaking potential, obviously, as LNG. Later on in the game, you can hit those scatters, you have the follow-up stuns to come through, you have the knock-up there from the hard engage that the Zhao is going to give you. But when you talk about late game damage, scaling, as well as the ability to side lane, Gen.G's kind of got everything here.
For me, again, LNG, I think the 2v2 is very strong. That Zhao and Syndra combo can win most of those in the early game if you execute it well. Same for the top side. Try to get Ale ahead. Make sure that Icon feels more comfortable in the matchup. And try to get a big of an early lead as you're able to find against this Gen.G comp, which, looking at the champions, should get shoved in early and at the very least open some opportunities for you to make corrective plays.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ruler be a little bit more active in the mid-game and early game as well. He was sort of just a passenger in their more recent game. It did make things look a little bit more difficult for Gen.G, but I do much prefer what LNG have going on this particular game. They've got a lot of pick potential, their skirmishing power is right there, and they always have the 4-1 Fiora win condition. When it comes to split pushes, I think that like Fiora is the most penultimate split pushing win condition.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether it's going to work here as we hop onto the Rift for the 3rd game of the day. This could decide so much. Gen.G could move up to 4-1, and then it's possible that we get tiebreakers at the end of the day between themselves and a TL that might continue their fantastic form.
Hello.
Or LNG can fight back and even things out here with Gen.G is, okay, we're going all top, and we're trying to fight this one out. That is the battle dance. It's going to be taken by Iwandy. Actually, a bit of a win there from Gen.G to make sure that that's the ability. No real power in the early game now for the Rakan.
Yeah, this ends up being really nice for them in that regard, but otherwise fairly neutral. No summoners burned, and no real like terrifying level 1 lock-ins.
That's a mana flow band stack.
Yeah.
I say as Live didn't pick Sorcery second, so actually he's not a mana, but he did get money.
Yeah,
so it's still a win. I'll take it.
Hey, you take a pretty significant goal. Look, 2.6 to 2.5.
Yes, we got him.
All right.
Got him.
All right, we may as well pack it up then, I guess. No, not at all. Minions not even here yet. As you can see, Birdle just chilling, waiting for Ale to get here, and it must feel a little bit frustrating, right? You're like, oh, Irelia, 4-1 is going to be so good, and then you look at the enemy team, you're like, dang it, it's a Fiora.
Yeah.
She's super good at this side lane stuff. Irelia a bit better at the old team fighting though, so we'll see how it is going to go. Ooh, not exactly the greatest role from Ale, but also not being able to find the stun is Birdle, so this is just oppressive.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get that extra hit there on the left side, but he still feels very happy with the CS he will delay, or rather deny. The other thing I want to talk about, because we talked about this in the first game, but it wasn't Birdle's most iconic champion, is Irelia. I might have to hold the thought for just a moment here, but Birdle is a type of player that's similar to Rascal in terms of his mechanical skill, but he is also going to miss the stun.
Oh no.
This is not going well. I'm trying to talk him up right now, and I'm caster cursing him a little bit, but what he's great on this Irelia is his ability to engage. His team fights were where he really made a big splash in the LCK, and what gave him such a big name for the Gen.G fans who were hoping for something that's a little bit more aggressive in the Rascal, kind of like what you were talking about, Chronicler. Like, when he is playing, this team plays more aggressive. They make those tough calls, whereas in the past with Gen.G, and often even in this tournament, they're very passive, and they don't actually press the go button. They don't pull the trigger. He's the type of player who will on this Irelia, so that's what I'm looking forward to later on.
Mind the read here as well. LNG is aware where Clid is, and Tarzan knows that he has time to still go to his Raptors. Clid is still on vision, so Ale can keep playing as aggressive, can keep denying the CS like he's done starting from level 1. And that gambit from Birdle to try and go for the early E start and leverage that into an early 1 trade, misses it, and there goes your plan. And Ale, I think, doing an exceptional job at punishing that, keeping Birdle very much on the back foot. And Clid pathing top doesn't actually lead to anything due to the great vision control that LNG have been able to secure. Only flip side of this is, yeah, Birdle's behind, and by a significant margin.
He's been zoned out of like half of his experience, it feels like.
He's level 2 at the moment.
Ale is doing it, like I said, it's exceptional. It's being really well done. I'm very happy with it. I hope that we continue to see LNG cover. But at the bot side, not as big a deficit, but because Light and Iwandy leashed for Tarzan, does mean that Gen.G have had control of this lane basically since level 1.
There's a stun landing from Birdle, so at least we got that. But that's about where the good news ends when it comes to the top side of the map, and already, basically through just there alone, it's about a 200 gold lead for LNG, and that will probably just expand as this game goes on.
Yep, Tarzan's pathing up here as well, and they actually have opportunities to make a really aggressive play.
Yeah, there's a control ward that Birdle did purchase for himself, and Icon's also going to be roaming up here. Oh dear.
Can Birdle hit the stun though is the question. Here we go.
Yeah, this is going to be a very dangerous time for the Irelia. Can she actually tidy up this minion wave is the question. There is a siege minion, so it's going to be tough. There's the riposte, it comes out. Decent amount of damage as Birdle's trying to get it back around. Does have the Conqueror stacking up, and that was closer than it possibly could have been.
Yeah, double stun there really helps out. Stacks the Conqueror there, but the turret juggle there was really nice for LNG. They will be able to pick up first blood here. Take away Birdle's flash critically. He is, of course, teleportless. And now, I mean, look, you're 20 CS down. You've lost a lot of experience. Your lane's over. You're dead. Another minion wave crashing into your turret means you're losing even more experience. And there's not really anything that Gen.G can do to bring Birdle back into this.
I'm pretty sure also that the wave, due to it getting crashed, is going to be pushing away from him. Let's take a look at the waves.
It doesn't get worse than this, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think he can maybe try, like he can try and push it, but then it's not going to work. So Clid's going to have to invest energy in going towards the top side of the map. I say though, I'm not 100% sure. I do think it will slowly push away, and Ale might look for a possible freeze. We do see Clid, like, he's straight running through the lane, right? You just need to make sure that Birdle can actually get the crash so that he doesn't get completely demolished as he has been thus far by Ale in this 1v1. And this is exactly what I wanted to see from LNG. Use your prior, use the windows that you have, and enable Ale. Now, Ale did a lot of enabling himself because he was already having a significant lead in the lane. But with the play from LNG, as you pointed out, they basically just got Birdle out of the game. I say, as it's here.
Yeah, we're trying to dash around this one as Ale throws down the challenge. Birdle's trying to get out of there with the Blade Surge, but it's just not going to work out. Now Ale has so much healing, and Clid now finds himself in so much trouble. He's got an army of minions, but it does not matter. The flash comes out from Ale. Clid's going to flash as well, and he doesn't get the 1v2 double kill.
He doesn't get the 1v2, but this is such a massive exchange for Ale. Clid's now flashless. Tarzan is seeing if he could actually find something. Clid got greedy here. And the thing is, regardless of whether he kills Clid here on Wolves, he's going to take the Wolves away. And man, Clid's like, yeah, well, I see what's going on here. And the thing is, if you look for this 2v1, it's very unlikely to succeed unless Ale makes a mistake. You don't have a lot of agency. Clid doesn't have level 6. If he has 6, maybe you look for that fight, but I mean, the risk was so high to make this play happen. I mean, Birdle's level 4, Clid's level 5. Ale has ult, doesn't even need it here, arguably, to win this exchange. Birdle's like, uh-oh, this is not going well. He's trying to buy time, but for what? Because Clid doesn't have any damage he can do here. There's no kick, there's a minion wave, but so what? And now you've given Ale even further of a lead.
Yeah.
We're falling behind in your own jungle.
And also, like, I feel like he should just be trying to run away. And like, if he gets the grand challenge to fruition, grabs the kill and then gets all the healing, there's no way that Clid can do anything. If you run away, there's a better chance that something decent's going to happen. But
Agreed.
honestly, I feel like Ale was already just too far ahead. Probably wasn't too scared about it anyway.
That's 1.3k gold. Literally the entire gold lead that LNG have. Obviously a little bit of an advantage for Lulu on the bot side. But now it becomes a question of, okay, so LNG, you've taken step one, right? One of your best players, Ale, he's fed. He's very, very fed. He's on an incredibly strongly scaling 1v1 split pusher. How do you now play around it? And that is something that we're going to have to see LNG find a conclusive answer towards, because I think that the rest of their comp can play both well in terms of disengage. They can engage relatively well. They have the Rakan. They have pick potential. So there is a lot of flexibility there.
Gen.G's just going to double down on, triple down on it.
Yep. Let's try again.
But this ward spots Clid out. And if everyone else waits for this to be cleared, they're not going to have the timing they have to show here. And Ale could just play defensively now. By the way, LNG matching the rotation, because this is a Rift Herald fight.
Yeah, this is just for the Rift Herald. I think they're not going to likely go up and try and repair things unless it's a lane swap afterwards. Could be an opportunity.
That's big.
Yeah. As is Iwandy though, so no quickness going to be available as Ruler does have the ultimate, but he gets knocked up, has to flash now to get himself out. There's the ult come through from Birdle, but doesn't really do too much here as the eye is being defended. That bullet time was unbelievable from Light, and now the flash forward from Icon. He gets exhausted. Ruler down to 100, trying to get out of here. Wind becomes lightning, not enough damage, and Clid limping out as well. Gen.G, they lose just one. Oh, I say that, but Clid is eventually going to get taken down. Icon will be the answering death, though, as BDD finally gets Gen.G on the board.
Yeah, get a little bit of extra shutdown gold there, but it's a 2,000 gold lead here. Herald goes to Iwandy as well, which is always a little bit awkward, but they do pick it up. And LNG, you know, the thing I was saying about that rotation up is I thought maybe you could somehow stop Ale on this rotation down if you hide this, but obviously you walked over a ward. They know you're missing bottom. It's very apparent that Gen.G is bringing everybody up here. But, like, if you win this fight as Gen.G, maybe you get a little bit of extra gold on the board, but it's so transparent what you're doing that LNG have the advantage. They have positional advantage there. And the bullet time was fantastic. Like, this is the player who's behind.
Do you believe in the four-way tie?
I'm looking at the top of my screen and I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're back to that timeline. Because LNG, this is completely different to what we saw from them in the last game. They look so much more comfortable. Exactly what you wanted to see from this team that is another hope for the LPL to get another seed towards the knockouts.
I mean, you don't have, as Gen.G here, enough power. As look at the ultimate here from Tarzan. Zones everybody away, and then bullet time is like, nope, you're not coming in. You have to respect this composition's ability to fight you, especially when you're this far behind.
It's the Herald kill that actually gets Light level 6, and then the combination of the scatter plus that secure on the Herald is what leads to LNG actually being able to take down Clid, or rather to take down basically the entirety of Gen.G there. Do you think that this is unnecessary? I think giving BDD kills on Azir generally not the way to go, and you have already secured so much, right? Like, you are monstrously far ahead in that topside matchup. You have a composition that, while we joke, you know, it's Gen.G, they skill early with this. That's if they're even. They are not even. They're certainly not ahead. And from a deficit, this composition is going to have a much harder time to actually come online. You're looking at 1-2 items for Ruler at the very least. Same for BDD. Birdle not going to be relevant whatsoever.
Whole purchase is so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you have to do. That's not going to be finished anytime soon.
Also standing on vision here as Scout of the Week is going to be avoided there by this safeguard. Gen.G just going to park themselves here in this mid lane, but LNG, a few extra members. Tarzan takes a bit of damage there for BD. Comes lightning, he's not going to quite find it as Iwandy just going to put down the Rift Herald. They're looking to take some plates away from this mid lane and make the lane a little bit extra long for BDD to deal with.
2,000 gold behind right now is Birdle, just to show it on your screen there so you can see it physically with your eyes, the pain.
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
This is top laner hell.
It's almost. Are we gonna get a sub 20-minute Flame Horizon? I haven't seen that.
Is it a sub 15-minute Flame Horizon? Like,
ooh,
that's what I was wondering earlier.
That's true.
He has a Gore Drinker, and Birdle's got a Cull, and he's got his armor, boots. That's all he's holding on to right now. Is just trying to catch this crashing wave. What's really scary about this for Gen.G is this is their comp is loosely based on the ability for Birdall to hard engage, to then set up for an amazing Emperor's Divide, and then for the damage to come through from Ruler. And when you have an Irelia with the Lulu too, you can go very deep if the Irelia is not extremely behind like she is in this particular case. But Gen.G's composition really falls apart when your Irelia is so fragile and has no ability to sustain in the middle of those fights. She can't be your initiation anymore. It's going to have to be up to BDD. And also potentially this Lee Sin from Clid. It's just so much harder now because your main step, your first step in every late game 5v5 fight is going to be so much harder to pull off.
Oh yeah, it's arm tied behind your back type situation here for Gen.G. Extraordinarily rough. LNG playing around their power very well though. Now going to move towards this Cloud Drake. Take that one away at 13 minutes. A little bit of a later one than what we've been seeing so far this week, but
Oh, the absolute state of this lane.
yeah.
Birdall's just like, yeah, I'm gonna eat that one minion. That's what I'm getting this game. And as you pointed out, might be looking like one of the earliest flame rounds we've seen thus far here in Worlds. And the problem is that a lot of them... Sorry,
I don't remember a time where it's been earlier than this.
Okay. And a lot of the normal, conventions that you talk about with this Gen.G composition, you can talk about the scaling, it's ADC Aphelios. I do actually think that outside of Icon getting big scatters, if they can mitigate lights, it actually is a really good composition that does want to what LNG have. LNG, at least the Fiora and the Zane are kind of forced to go in relatively aggressive. But that doesn't really matter when you have a Fiora that's this far ahead, right? Because no matter what, you're going to have to send too deep, and even then, you might probably still lose. As Birdall.
Grand challenge underneath the turret. W is going to be used there as Birdall is going to have to get out of here because the rest of LNG are coming. Tarzan, I don't believe, sees Birdall. But the stun is going to come through. There's the flash out. Icon's easily just going to scatter the Irelia to death.
I think that in this scenario, considering how long it takes for everybody to come over there, Gen.G could have considered making a teleport play with BDD and actually committing in there, trying to get there first and actually trying to
I don't know. I'd be too scared. This Fiora's so big.
I think at this point...
Or you could just lose, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, the plates are down. He's not getting anything here with this push, so you hold this teleport, but what do you gain with it? Like, maybe this?
Yeah, that's the kickback into the Emperor's Divide as well, but the great defensive grand entrance to come through from Iwandy as Clid going to be the first one to fall down. BDD tries to do what he can, but it's not going to work. The counterplay is beautiful from LNG. And they'll even grab this Rift Herald.
And LNG heard y'all were trash-talking the LPL, and they're having none of it. With, honestly, a complete dismantling of Gen.G. It starts with the top lane and it bleeds over to the rest of the map. Clid, BDD, clearly feeling the pressure that is being put out on top side, trying to go for desperation plays to salvage. Iwandy with a beautiful timer on mid, able to find a double knockup right underneath the turret in this Axe replay. And yeah, if you get taunted underneath the turret and you get double knockup, there's not that much for you to do. The fact that it's as relatively close as it is nice, I guess.
Hey, he's still got his teleport to come back to lane.
We've got another dive immediately as we come out of the replay. Birdall's trying to survive. It's not going to work. Spoiler there is once again Clid finds himself on the wrong side of this one as well. Light trying to survive on the bottom side, and that's all he has to do as LNG are looking for this inner turret. The split push win condition is going to be a thing at like 15 minutes into this game. And we're looking to knock down inhibitor turrets before Baron's even on the map. And Ale is just so huge.
I mean, this is a rotation finally.
Yeah, we're looking for that teleport play like you were talking about, as we do have the white and red guns that we've been talking about a lot, but we're not quite strong enough for teleport to come in once again. Birdall's trying
You're losing the
to
game
find
at home.
something. Yep, exactly. That Emperor's Divide gets the thumbs up from Icon. He's happy about that situation as Tarzan dives on in on top of BDD. Immediately gets rid of him. Life also going to get taken down. This is a shellacking from LNG. They have pulled Gen.G apart from minute one.
I mean, you've got to make tough choices, right? You go for the teleport play bottom side here, as Ruler's just going to die, it looks like. There's no minion wave, so I take it back. But, I mean, Fiora in your base, killing your inhibitor turrets at 16 minutes, and there's no play from Gen.G to try to collapse and punish this. Yes, she's very fed. Yes, she's got a gore drinker, but it's not like a Fiora that is unkillable at this stage in the game, and Gen.G are making some pretty tough calls, and It's not working out. Like, they're not getting anything out of this for BDD, unfortunately.
Flame Horizon has been, man was about, I think, 1645 when that was hit by Ale. And this is the risk that you take, taking a young, unexperienced player and putting him up against what is clearly a player that knows what he's doing and is able to show the power of that LPL Fiora. And it leads to these plays where Gen.G, is it a good play? It doesn't matter. We need to go for it because we are losing the game everywhere else. We cannot deal with this Fiora. So in desperation, you try and make something happen. They get a kill on Icon here. It's nice. But look at how far you're down.
Yeah.
There's no way in LNG, just after what was a rough first game, a beautiful showing, completely bounced back in this one.
Yeah. Ale moves forward. 3 people on Gen.G immediately. Get the heck out of there.
2 items.
These are just the most huge. Ggoong as well as the Ravenous Hydra. There's way too much healing.
Look at the vision control that comes with this control of the bottom side of the map. They've just wrestled back as well. And as Gen.G, you want to try to take some of that away. You want to contest this Drake. Well, in a normal circumstance with this comp, you would, but considering the state of this game, you can't, right? You just have to actually even let that vision control go over, because even contesting wards right now isn't safe. As you're just kind of trying to play around the idea of Birdall's going to sit there and catch some safe minions in the base, and maybe that call will finish one day, and maybe this champion will be relevant. Maybe we'll be able to play the game. Maybe we can actually have a 5v5 at some point, but we're a long ways away from that.
I can see BDD and Brula get, and this is due to, this would have to be due to massive mistakes on LNG's side. I can see BDD and Brula at some point reaching relevance. I think Builder's relevant, gonna be next game. If that actually does come to this game, the Irelia, you're just completely shut out. And like I said, as long as LNG play even moderately respectful, they should be able to snowball the entire map, choke Gen.G out of every single objective. If you want to play it safe, then that's what we like in the LCK. You can just go for the soul and then turn that into a Baron. If you want to play a little bit more risky with the amount of gold you have, you can force very, very hard.
Well, Ale's immediately in there. Iwandy as well. Beautiful charm. Bullet Time's going to secure it onto BDD. That's so much of their damage. Now missing the Lulu. Just gets obliterated. But Ruler dashing on forward. Ale's going to get shut down. It's a double kill for the world champion AD carry on the bottom side for Gen.G. But he is going to get scattered. Bertle looking for Icon though. Needs another Blade Surge. The flash comes in. Ward over the wall, but he's not going to find another Q. And that was a little bit closer than LNG wanted.
You guys jinxed it a little bit with the safe play, right? They went a little bit too far deep in. They gave Gen.G the opportunity to make that sort of aggressive play there as Clid's going to secure his own red. And they end up getting behind there looking for the kick. It's a heroic play from Clid. Big ultimate there from Ruler to clean things up. And Birdall starting to get a few assists onto the board. That call is almost finished. And we
No. I will not have you distract Wolf from the actual hero. I mean, the man that picks up an immense shutdown, and that's Ruler. Yeah. Right? Because this is exactly what you need to do in this fight. It is actually a beautiful ultimate coming through, setting it up. And then Gen.G, they see an opportunity to make full use of it, right? Everyone's clumped up. The amount of damage that you do with the Moonlight Vigil in that scenario for Ruler is exquisite. Is it actually going to matter? I highly doubt it. I still don't think that's enough. Also, nicely done by LNG to not take the inhibitors too early, right? You want to wait a little bit longer so you can actually use the pressure that it provides, not giving free waves over. Is it a great shutdown? Nice play from Ruler, one for the highlight reels. Yeah, you're still 7, 8k goal behind. And I don't think it's significantly going to change the outcome of the game.
No, I don't think so either.
The thing about this play from Gen.G is it's something that it's the first time they've actually made a really big proactive play when LNG has stepped across the line. They had their best opportunity to do so, obviously, with the tools they have in this comp, with the Aphelios ult coming out, the big kick there coming through from Clid. And this is what I was about to mention before that fight broke out is Gen.G is the worst type of team to have this big of a deficit in, because you have to take big risks when you're behind, and sometimes it will cause you to lose the game faster, but you still have to look for it. Gen.G usually doesn't do anything in scenarios like this. It's kind of stylistically what they do. They're too passive of a team, but they finally find something back at least.
It might benefit them this game, though, just because LNG don't have a lot of sieging potential. Yes, there's no, like, inhibitor turrets, and they should just win the game very, very soon, right? Like, I'm we need to talk about something, right? And Ruler did just pop off in a fight just before.
I appreciate your optimism, your creativity.
I haven't even got to the optimism yet, but I think I'll just give up on it, to be honest.
That was the optimistic part. What are you talking about?
No, I almost said it. As Ruler now looking for Ale. The ulti comes through. Moonlight Vigil, I believe, does connect. No, it does not onto Ali, unfortunately.
Hey, the
They
Cole's
did the grand
finish.
challenge, though.
He got the call. You see that? It happened. I thought we might lose before then, the Gen.G. He finished the call. It's the big power spike coming through.
All right, there we go. Oh,
Just
dear.
don't walk into 5-man Aphelios ults and you'll be fine, LNG. That's all you need to do with the amount of gold you have available. Open up that base, get that Baron. Don't run into LNG, or don't run into Gen.G rather. Use the range you have available and you should be fine. And
that's the prescription that has been given out by Chronicler.
I'm not great when it comes to, obviously we need to get Medic on board for that, so I don't know if I really want the liability and the responsibility.
Speaking
that
of liability,
comes with that.
I guess you could talk to them about that.
Yes, that would be the main thing. Main thing here that I'm really happy to see is that LNG actually looks like the team that we saw in play-ins, and obviously play-ins on a different level from groups. But playing for Ale, well, I guess Ale just single-handedly carrying the rest of the team being like, we'll help.
Ale playing through himself.
Yes.
And some mistakes from Birdall, of course.
Yeah, I do agree. It is the inexperience that comes through from the player, but I also got to give credit of Ali's knowledge of that matchup and being able to play so confidently as he did.
And it was also Birdall having to take the stun first, doesn't have the Blade Surge in the lane, and Gen.G didn't find anything from their Hail Mary level 1 that they went for. And so, you know, Birdall did kind of put himself in the position at the very beginning, but definitely not... you can't really let him off the hook.
Yeah, no, we
it,
really
you know?
can't. I mean, I'll be the one to say it, you know. I think you and I disagreed, Chronicler, in fact, about whether we thought Birdall coming in for Gen.G was actually the right call. I thought it was a huge risk. I also thought it was a move that, in your kind of opinion, you were saying, well, it might change how Gen.G plays long-term overall, and it'll kind of slide into more comfort as the group progresses. And in games like this, you know, it feels like just a few big crucial mistakes, and obviously some bad luck that comes in with that, really means that Gen.G is playing a 4v5 game here. And I think Rascal wouldn't have made those same mistakes. So sometimes big risks to pay off. This is not one of those times. And I do wonder if Gen.G will sub him out after this game, in fact.
They could, especially considering all of the success that Morgan had found on the Renekton. Rascal is almost synonymous with Crocodile on the top side. Loves that champion. Even if it has been nerfed a little bit, doesn't matter.
So,
still loves it.
Game technically isn't over, I guess. You guys want to talk about the item breakpoint? Well,
Gen.G is like, let's go.
Gen.G's cooking.
Yep. I'm ready.
Okay, for Ruler, it's the IE, which he's accelerated, obviously. Life hasn't even... He hasn't even dreamed of getting close to acquiring a Mythic. And BDD also still sitting on his first item, gonna have that Cosmic Drive up next. And then I think he needs one more item. I don't know what it's gonna end up being. Personally, I wouldn't mind a Void. Might also go for the Death Cap. We've seen him go for a variety of builds. Yeah, Birdall and Clid don't really want to talk about their item build, so that's what you're going for. Then you also need to find a way to deny LNG the Turek. That is coming up in 3.5 minutes, so basically there's not really a way. And I think LNG, with what we've seen thus far, loving this. Just start with the Baron, at least make sure that everyone is there, choke out the vision a little bit, and we should be able to, without a hitch, actually throw down those inhibitors, utilize the pushing power, and take Gen.G down from there.
Yeah, LNG looking for a pick now with all of their extra vision, but Control Ward does go into that blue buff pit. There's Clid. Looks for his Wolf Camp. Tarzan could have denied that one away, but is going to put all of their effort into this Baron. And should be able to. Blue Trinket, this is the last one available from Gen.G, is going to go into the pit.
They spent so many resources clearing the vision too. Gen.G are walking into Scour the Weeks in this choke point. They have to take the long way around.
Yeah, there's a lot of poke. Icon actually doing so much damage here. It's Gen.G grouped up as 5. They've got the Sun Disc there. LNG looking for the team fight instead. Gen.G with position now on this turret. Ruler with that crescendo is going to be able to rip through it. Yep, that one goes down extraordinarily quickly. Technically a win for Gen.G, because LNG were busy with the Baron.
Icon's at half health. I mean, you do have to respect the power this comp has, even though it is very far behind. You can blow up single targets. You can look for really nice combos here with the Azir ultimate. So LNG showing a lot of respect here. It cost them their turret here and a little bit of prio. So Gen.G, I mean, baby steps, but there's a way maybe back into this game if there's a few more mistakes on the side of LNG or a few big risks like the Baron we just saw attempted.
And this is not what LNG's comp's supposed to do, right? It's not supposed to 5v5. They want to have Ale on the side lane, and They're going to still go for it here as the grand entrance doesn't really work out. Speaking of not working out, the bullet time sort of flies to Narnia, unfortunately. So Gen.G get a couple of cooldowns. Still, the wallets are so heavy from LNG, but they've just been a little bit ginger with them. They haven't been dropping them on the heads of Gen.G over the last 10 minutes or so.
I think what's going to happen is that LNG at one point is just going to realize how weak Gen.G really is and is just going to all in and win. I've seen this happen where teams are, you know, they want to respect, they want to make sure, because we need to go a little bit more into the stakes of this game. Obviously, for Gen.G, if they lose, not the end of the world, but it does mean that they're not guaranteed to get out of the group. That's the four-way tie-wick situation. But for LNG, you just came of an incredibly rough loss, right?
Yeah.
The LPL as a whole has had a really tough time. LNG, while in play-ins, they looked like a very, very dominant team. Haven't really been able to kind of refine that form. Icon has had a really, really rough group stage so far, and now look at him doing well on the Syndra. Ale securing insane leads. So it's understandable that they're a bit apprehensive about throwing that lead, and you don't really need to, because in a minute you're gonna get one of the biggest insurance policies that you could possibly get.
I mean, you've already got really great itemization for your top half of the map. A little bit more all in on the damage here for the Syndra, but she got a stopwatch, so she's going to be fine. They have 3, in fact, but the Syndra having the stopwatch is the most critical because she's the most vulnerable in the front line, trying to set up for scatters. And they're finally getting a little bit of power with this split pushing. I mean, they've got a little bit of it earlier, but they're finally going back to it a little bit. Instead of just grouping up as 5 and running away, they're actually putting Ale in a side lane. You see he's going to top right now. So you can kind of slowly let Gen.G push mid, but there's consequences, right? You might lose an inhibitor for this as Gen.G or be forced to use a teleport. So they're using their comp correctly now. 30 seconds to go on this. Ale does have teleports. LNG are not just sitting back and giving up cryo for free. They're trying to threaten inhibitors while then collapsing into the drain.
Whoa. Iwandy taking a lot of damage. Ruler now has 3 items. So the IE was just finished. Big spike.
Death cap up now for Icon too. He's teleporting back in.
Oof. It's a big one as well. Like you were saying, he's going to teleport here. B2D is trying to help Birdle out. As Iwandy looking for the flank. They know it's 4 versus 3. And LNG now with positional advantage on the Drake. This is, of course, the Mountain Soul. Gen.G not even going to fight for it. They're just looking to take down this minion wave, and now looking for position.
That's gone. Or is it?
They're a little bit slow on this, LNG.
Yeah, okay. Clid should be able to actually get into position to get over that wall and go for a potential 50-50. Ale now picking up that minion wave as Ruler's dashing forward looking for it. There's the Gravitum stun. Riposte's on cooldown. Ale might just get soloed out by Ruler. The grand challenge comes in, but Ruler accepts it and says you're dead. The shutdown delivered to Birdle. Yes, you'll get the Mountain Soul, but how is Gen.G getting a Baron this game?
Yeah, you take a Baron here and you make one big mistake trying to collapse in alone as the Fiora coming from the side lane instead of trying to look for a teleport. You had so many wards to go to. You save your teleport, you're greedy, you walk in, you get punished. Now you lost the Baron. You can lose the game here if you lose this. If you get wiped.
There's the kickback as well. Iwandy going to be taken down. Not exactly a priority target as Birdle's going to flash into the ultimate of this misfortune. The dashes, though, Birdle looking for it onto Icon. He's down very low, but his life is now gone. The bottom lane's still alive for Gen.G, but that was an overstep. And Icon so close to dead, but is going to survive.
And if they can hold off on letting Ruder and Life back here, will not go for it. Do have the Baron and Power and Recall. I was going to say, might even be a situation in which Ale can teleport into the base, but Ruler clearly not happy with the fact that people were saying that he is not proactive enough, flashes into a monstrously fed Fiora, and it's somehow Gen.G that gets this Baron power play, and there comes a point where I gotta stop saying, there's no way that Gen.G finds their way back in this, because somehow they keep winning fights, and if this keeps happening, eventually you're gonna reach that event horizon on BDD, on Ruler. Life.
Scary times.
Ooh, does get out. But now
we can see it. Now we're just going to shut the window. Okay, here it is.
Look at
one
how
more
far
time.
he is. He's crossed the gap. He's crossed the equator of the map here alone instead of trying to teleport in. And you get hit at this very critical moment. Iwandy is also, they've been tracking this entire time, so you know it's 3 on the Drake, and you can give it up for a Baron here when you end up killing the Fiora. And the turn is also brilliant.
I mean, this part was a little bit of an oopsie because the kickback, fantastic from Clid, but then this bullet time was just glorious from Life.
Birdle lived for so long, they just don't have the follow-up damage out of that, outside of that initial exchange to actually pick off Icon, although he goes extremely low. Look at Ruler nearly take him out there. But this is a winnable game now. I mean, I We're still on a stretch, right? I'm still stretching the rubber band almost to snapping.
TP.
Yeah, okay. Clid could be in a bunch of trouble here. Got some wards in the area. Let's see whether he can actually get out. Iwandy gonna grab him for the flank, and Icon just pops him like a balloon.
That might just be it. LNG, just push it. Use the fact that you have multiple people available. But this is the problem, and this is something that, of all teams, it's ironic that it happens to a team that's facing Gen.G. When you're really far ahead and you make a mistake and you lose your edge, right? You lose your ability to appropriately recognize plays and then go for them aggressively. That is something that can't befall LNG. They're still hugely favored. They still have a soul. They're still in a position where a single scatter, a single good ultimate from Light should win them the game. Ale's monstrously fed. Builders pushing. Clid, 10 seconds.
Yep, Turtle now just starting the back. Azir still with the Baron available. Scatter the Weak not going to land onto BDD here. As the Nexus turret's still at full health. But the inhibitors, not so lucky. Bottom one going to be next on the menu as Clid has respawned and is looking for his opportunity. Very close to hitting Light with that Sonic Wave.
You hit either Icon or Light, you have a huge opportunity to remove half the damage and win that longer fight, but it's just so difficult to pull this off.
Ruler is a raid boss at the moment.
It's just Ruler.
Yeah, it's literally Ruler. He's got his Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, can do damage from so far away. Set up, I mean, he's got a lot of utility in this kit as well. This is what you were talking about, Chronicle, the point where you go, I think we just have 4 items. I think we can kind of all in here. There's an opportunity for LNG also to be the ones to pull the trigger first here, so positioning is so important for Lulu. Look at how he's skating the line on the edge here of this comp.
Well, that is going to be the double stun from the Gravitum. You can see Ale now looking for his opportunity. Great double knock up there from Iwandy as Ruler in trouble, but isn't going to get taken down until a little bit late in the fight. It is going to be the pickoff onto the Rakan, but I have a feeling this is the damage done. BDD underneath this turret though. Can he actually survive? And the answer is absolutely not. And finally, the Anvil weight wallets come down onto the heads of Gen.G, and this game will be over.
It was one with twists and turns, but like I said, at some point LNG realized, wait, how far ahead are we? And they walk in, they kill them, and the game is done.
Yeah, there were a few mistakes despite the lead, and there were a few overextensions that gave Gen.G some opportunities for some big shutdowns. They were able to take that Baron. They were able to punish Ale on that rotation over. They tracked Iwandy well. But at the end of the day, this was a game that was played 5v4 out of a Fiora who controlled the top lane.
6v4. I think Ale was at least 2 people that game.
LPL of Fiora is one of the most terrifying things you could face. We haven't seen it meta in Korea. I don't think it was played like maybe even a single time all year here in the LCK. And we've seen it in the past, but it's a staple of the LPL, and it really showed here. Rookie Birdall falling under the pressure.